Pro-Ject's flagship debut model has crept up in price every year or so. £699, then £799, then £899. This time though, it's not just a price bump. It comes with a completely new Tonearm Pro-Ject's never put on a debut deck before. So is the reference 10 the point where debut stops meaning entry level? Let's take a closer look. For the past few videos, we seem to have developed a bit of a tradition of focusing on the build first, so let's start there. When I first look at this turntable, what I can appreciate straight out of the box is the proper minimalist look. You basically have three main components visible on top: the platter, the tonearm, and one toggle switch for selecting the speed. That's it. But where I think it gets most of its character is the contrast. Against the black chassis, the tonearm and bearing block are polished diamond cut aluminium, so you get this two-tone thing going on, matte black against bright metal. All the main components sit on a hand-painted 8-layer MDF chassis in a satin black finish. And even though at 6 kilos it's noticeably lighter than something like the Technics deck we covered recently, it doesn't feel flimsy in the slightest. Pick it up and there's real heft and solidity in the chassis and platter. Sitting on top of the chassis is a satin finish acrylic platter about 300mm across. And the sub-platter underneath it is also diamond cut aluminium, machined properly rather than just cast. Besides looking very cool and modern, the acrylic platter's impedance is close enough to the vinyls that you genuinely don't need a mat. You may not think much of this, but it's one less variable to think about and one less thing coloring what you're actually hearing off the record. The motor in the debut reference 10 runs off a DC driven generator putting out a clean sine wave, and the whole thing sits in a redesigned suspension that isolates it from the plinth. The benefit of this setup is tighter speed stability, less wah and flutter creeping into the sound, and because the motor is properly decoupled, less mechanical noise finding its way back up through the platter. Switching between 33 and 45 is electronic, just a toggle, and if you've still got some 78s knocking about, there's a belt swap for that too. It's just not automatic like the two main speeds. Next, let's take a look at the cartridge. The reference 10 comes fitted with Pro-Ject's own Picket Pro Balanced. This is a cartridge they developed in collaboration with Autophone, and it's pre-aligned at the factory, so there's no messing about with a protractor before you can drop the needle. If you were to buy this cartridge separately, it would cost you somewhere around £199, so that's effectively baked into the price of this turntable. And it's not just there to tick a box either. People who've spent real time with it describe it as lively and energetic with genuine pace and detail, which is exactly the sound Pro-Ject were going for. In case you were wondering if you could upgrade, there's real headroom here too. Reviewers who have swapped in pricier cartridges have found even more detail and refinement sitting on top of what's already a properly engaging sound out of the box. It's worth noting that this arm uses a fixed head shell rather than a swappable one, so upgrading means remounting a new cartridge rather than just clipping one in. But this Tonearm is built with exactly that kind of upgrade path in mind, which we'll talk more about in a second. Around the back, you've actually got two ways to connect it: a standard RCA, or you can opt in for a mini XLR for a proper balanced connection. Balanced is genuinely rare at this price point, and it's there to reject noise over the cable run for a clear signal path if you've got a longer distance from your amp. Now I do want to flag something here. To actually run it balanced, you need a phono stage that supports it, something like Pro-Ject's own PhonoBox DS3B. Without that, you're just using it single-ended like any other moving magnet cartridge, which is still great, but it's not unlocking the headline feature. And that actually raises a bigger point. This deck doesn't have a built-in phono stage at all, so whatever you're pairing it with needs a phono input already, or you need a separate phono preamp in the chain. Onto the Tonearm, because this is really the star of the show. It's a brand new 10-inch design, one-piece construction, carbon fiber on the outside for rigidity, and an aluminium tube inside to dampen it down, and it's longer than anything else in the debut range. A longer arm flattens out the arc the cartridge travels across the record, and that reduces tracking distortion, especially toward the inner grooves, which is usually where it's at its worst. You've also got proper adjustability here too. The VTA and azimuth are both adjustable via grub screws, plus an anti-skating mechanism that adapts as the cartridge moves across the record. At 16.6 grams effective mass, it's also a properly medium mass design, which means it pairs well with a wide range of cartridges rather than just being fussy about what you mount on it. It's finished off with a screw-on counterweight that's damped internally too, so even that's been engineered to keep resonance out of the signal path, which makes it a genuine step up in what you can actually fine-tune at this price. Last but not least, let's take a look at the feet. There's 3 of them, not the usual 4, and as you'd expect, they're height adjustable with TPE dampening. 3 points means it levels more easily on uneven surfaces, and it isolates the whole deck better from vibrations coming up through the stand or shelf. So that's the turntable. Now let's have a look at what you get in the box. When you purchase the Pro-Ject Debut Reference 10 from your favorite retailer, Premium Sound, you get a record puck E, a dust cover, the 78 RPM belt, a 7-inch single adapter, a power supply, and a Pro-Ject connected Phono E cable. So basically everything you need to get it running is in there. You get all of this plus the turntable for £999, and it sits right at the top of the Debut range now. There's 5 models in total, with the entry Carbon Evo 2 starting at £599. So you can tell that the Reference 10 isn't playing the same cheap way in role that the Debut name used to. And that brings us back to where we started. Pro-Ject's Debut range has been creeping up in price for years now, £100 or so at a time. What's different this time isn't just the number on the price tag, it's the Tonearm, a genuinely higher piece of engineering that's never been fitted on a Debut model before. Whether that's enough to say Debut actually stopped meaning entry level is a question for your ears, and honestly, that's exactly why we've got one on demo in the listening room here at our London store. And speaking of which, the playlist with more turntable overviews is coming up on the end screen in just a moment, so stick around for that. If you've decided, however, that this is the turntable for you, you can find the Pro-Ject Debut Reference 10 on our website at premiumsound.co.uk, and if you have more questions after watching this video, reach out to one of our team members. They're very knowledgeable on all the products we carry and love talking details and helping you make the right choice for your setup and space. Thanks for sticking till the end. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful. We post weekly videos on some of the best hi-fi gear around, so make sure you've subscribed to the channel and enabled notifications so you don't miss the next one. Also, let us know in the comments what you think of the Debut Reference 10. Would it work well in your current setup? And if not, and you're still turntable hunting, check out our playlist right here for more turntable overviews. Until next time, happy listening.